Broncos as he takes it out to the 22-yard line. Dan talking about the running game. And Denver will keep the ball on the ground a lot tonight, especially, you would think, with Kubiak in there. Speaking of new look, Mann, Rocker, Grant, and Marcus Cook goes from tackle back to end to take Manley's spot. Manusky, Spelling, Olkowitz in the middle linebacker, Greg in his second season. Then you've got Mayu, a first-year man, and A.J. Johnson, a rookie, with the veterans Walton and Bowles in the secondary. 2nd and 7 from the 23-yard line with Orson Mobley, the man in motion, and Kubiak to put it up. His third pass of the season, and not a Bronco in sight. A.J. Johnson was the closest to it, the defensive back. Vance Johnson, the intended receiver.
Vance Johnson makes a break to the sideline, running an out pattern, and Gary Kubiak clearly expecting him to run a fly pattern down the sideline, Frank.
I don't think there's any question about it. It was going to be Gary Kubiak getting the attention of the Washington Redskins, saying, hey, I can throw this ball deep. Trouble is, Vance Johnson wasn't in sync with him. He does a little out pattern, and Kubiak airs it out. Fortunately overthrown for the Denver Broncos. Fortunately overthrown the pursuing Redskins.
3rd and 7 from the 23-yard line. Winder and Sewell in the backfield with Kubiak. Operating from the shotgun. Under pressure. Down he goes at the 13th. The ball is loose. And it is Washington's ball. Fred Stokes, number 60, creating the fumble and also recovering it.
Fred Stokes came in from his defensive right end position. He's in the spot that normally would have been occupied by Dexter Manley. And right there is a good example of an entire offensive team not aware of what's happening, because the ball is loose on the ground, and it's really the Redskins that are making the dominant effort to get to the football. But there is Stokes, and clearly a fumble, no effort to throw the ball not moving forward. And the first break of the game belongs to the Washington Redskins.
And couldn't you just fantasize John Elway slipping out of that?
And a huge break it is. This is Jamie Morris with a big hole. Touchdown Redskins. Jamie Morris. So the most inauspicious of beginnings for the Broncos. They fumble but recover the opening kickoff. Kubiak gets sacked and fumbles, and they lose the football. Morris scores the touchdown. Lohmiller kicks the extra point. We played 1 minute and 7 seconds, and the Redskins have the early lead.
And if you're going to run a play when you get it down near the goal line, why not go ahead and run counter Trey? And that's what the Redskins run behind McKenzie and Lachey. Jamie Morris stuffs it into the end zone. Ought to look familiar.
Old-fashioned Shula at Miami have been with their respective clubs longer than those two men. 7-0 Washington as Lohmiller puts it in the air for the second time. This time it's a deeper kick, and it's taken at the goal line by Ken Bell, who was waved and brought back, and Bell takes it out to the 15-yard line. And so here comes Kubiak again, who misfired on his first pass with Vance Johnson running an out pattern, and Kubiak throwing deep down the sideline, and then the sack and fumble, and he starts this drive from the 15-yard line. RFK Stadium, it is a gorgeous night. Beautiful day in Washington today, temperature in the mid-60s, and it's very balmy this evening. 1st and 10 from the 15. And this is Humphrey. Out past the 20, and the rookie is then pushed back from the 22. A.J. Johnson, the rookie out of Southwest Texas State, taking over at a corner spot. Barry Wilburn tested positive for cocaine. That's why he's out. He's on the physically unable to perform or non-football injury list. And Darrell Green with a dislocated wrist. The other man, Mayu, coming into your picture, number 35, is the first-year man. They picked him up from Buffalo after he was with the Bills for part of last season. And they are the two corners for the Redskins. 2nd and 3 from the 22-yard line. Humphrey on a delay picks up the first down and takes it out to the 31-yard line. Stopped there by Alvin Walton.
Now, we talked about the new dimension for the Denver Broncos, and you're looking at him. Bobby Humphrey, of course, had a great career at Alabama, came up in the supplemental draft this year, but he is working behind a big offensive line, not a mature offensive line. They don't like to see the changes that they will see tonight because the Redskins will move around a lot on them, but if they keep it smooth and keep it easy, they are a big offensive line, and they can give him a little gap, and you saw what he can do with it.
He's given them a first down at the 30. Washington leading 7-0 early in the first quarter. Off the play fake. Pressure on. Sacked at the 21. Number 74, Marcus Cook, the man who's taking Dexter Manley's place.
That was exactly what I was talking about. You give him a different look. That time it was Marcus Cook out on the right end, but he looped inside Darrell Grant to tackle in. It is a young offensive line, and they do not like to look at a lot of different things, and they're going to see a lot of them because I know that Joe Gibbs, if you got a new quarterback in there, what do? Dan, you go after him.
Well, how about this? Both of the big plays made by the Redskins defensive line so far have come from that defensive right end position. The spot vacated by Dexter Manley. Stokes on the fumble, and now it's Cook.
Timeout. Washington, number 1.
10 men on the field. It is 2nd and 18. Denver from the 22-yard line. Washington ahead 7-0. Kubiak dumps it over the middle. They set up a screen for Sammy Winder, and Winder gets popped from the rear at the 29-yard line. Marcus Cook makes the tackle from the backside.
Well, Winder had no choice but to get hit from behind because he had to stop. When he caught the ball, he was out in front of his lineman. Guy's got 3 blockers on the play. He catches the ball, and he's about 2 yards farther downfield than his lineman. He stops, delays a bit, waits for his line to catch up, and then gets caught from behind. See how he's in front of his guys. He delays, and then that hesitation allows Cook to catch up. An active Redskin defense in the early going.
3rd and 11 from the 29-yard line with Mark Jackson coming in motion. Kubiak has time this time and throws a little bit behind Ricky Nattil and incomplete. He was covered by Martin Mayu, and the Broncos will be forced to kick. And the pressure again put on that time by Fred Stokes, who comes in pass rush situation.
Talk about the changing secondary. Number 35 is Martin Mayu. Al told you both these corners are different. They are both rookies that are playing out there. Mayu was on the IR last year with Buffalo, so he basically is a rookie. But Johnson and Mayu are rookie cornerbacks for the Redskins.
Mike Horan, the left-footed kicker, sails one down to the 30, and a fair catch is called for and made by Joe Howard. And the Redskins will take over at their own 30-yard line. Defensive set, 1st and 10 from the 30-yard line. Mark Griffin, the quarterback. That's Ernest Biner, who came over from Cleveland in motion. And they begin with a reverse. And this is Gary Clark cutting it back inside and taking it out to the 38-yard line for a pickup of 8. And we'll take a look now at the offense. Mark Griffin started the first 8 games, had fumbleitis. Out he came. Doug Williams, who had been on injured reserve with the bad back, and the operation came back. And now it's Griffin again with Morris, Spelling, Riggs, and Monk, Sanders, and Clark, the 3 wideouts. Don Warren, hurt last week, is back. And the revamped offensive line, we'll get into that. Mark Schlereth, the right guard, 69. 2nd and 2, and Jamie Morris looking for that first down and appears to have it as he gets to the 40-yard line and slightly beyond. Mark Munford in on the tackle.
Morris carried the ball 38 times last week. Set the NFL record a year ago with 45. He's not big, but certainly durable.
Now, here is that Denver defense. The 3-man front. Cragen scored a touchdown last week on a fumble return against Kansas City. The linebackers, Carl Mecklenburg, who had been so active and had played in so many spots in prior years, pretty much the right inside backer, though he lines up on the nose occasionally. Braxton and Henderson, the corners. Dennis Smith and Atwater are the safeties. And on first down, Jamie Morris can go nowhere this time. He's taken down by Alfonso Carricker. The ball is loose, and there is no whistle. It is picked up by Tyrone Braxton, and Braxton is run out of bounds at the 5-yard line.
And Gary Clark saves a touchdown. We'll see if that bears any fruit for the Redskins, but Gary Clark coming all the way across keeps Braxton out of the end zone. And I guess it's a question here of what constitutes forward progress or not. Jamie Morris wrapped up and pretty well stood up straight by the Denver defense before the ball comes out. But the ruling all the way that it's a fumble.
obviously no whistle because everyone kept going all out. And the Broncos now get their turnover break. Let's watch.
Here comes the replay.
Morris coming in. He's stacked up there.
Now, you be the judge. Where does forward progress stop?
Dennis Smith ripping it out.
Now, that's slow motion, of course, so it's difficult to tell, but they have stopped it. The officials are huddling.
And they're reviewing it as well. Dick Jorgensen is the referee, the replay
The
official.
review by replay, the play stands for stop.
And there's no way that they were going to overturn the call on the field. Again, they would have had to see something so conclusive that they could have overturned the, in this case, the non-call down on the field, and that's not going to happen. There's not nearly enough there to justify an overturn by the replay.
Smith strips it. Braxton comes up with it. Flatty lets the play stand, and it's 1st and goal for Denver at the 5-yard line.
Here's where a running game is a big plus.
So each team with a huge early break, and this is Humphrey, and he can take it to the 2-yard line, 2nd and goal. The Broncos have had a lot of trouble deep in the opponent's territory this season. They've had trouble pushing the ball in from inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, that's also 7 fumble recoveries for these Broncos in the last 5 games.
Here it is, 1st and goal. Denver has put it in just a little bit more than half the time, and the NFL average, as you see, is 70%.
And they wouldn't have gotten much on that play if it wasn't for the excellent 2nd and 3rd effort on the part of Bobby Humphrey. And boy, Frank touched on it earlier, what a sparkling addition he has been to this Denver rushing attack.
And on 2nd down with 3 tight ends in the game, along with Humphrey and Alexander in the backfield, Kubiak calls a timeout. So each team has spent a timeout in the 1st quarter. 8:53 to go. As after the Denver timeout, the Broncos come to the line of scrimmage on 2nd down and goal. And Kubiak on a roll and under pressure, but throws. And is he in? Yes, he is. Melvin Bratton makes the catch, crosses the plane, and then coughs up the ball, but after the touchdown. Melvin Bratton out of Miami, where he was hurt. Otherwise, he would have been a very high draft choice. They found him late in the draft in the 7th round. In fact, took a chance with him. A great receiver, and he scores to make it 7-6.
And this is what Gary Kubiak can do for you, too. He's not a good a scrambler as John Elway, but he is a nifty runner. We've seen him many times in preseason play. He could turn that into an option run or pass. He decides to go with the pass. He gets the touchdown. Bratton, a good receiver, as Al pointed out, at the University of Miami, gets the
A line drive kicked by Treadwell to the 29-yard line, taken there by Kurt Golzea. Not your prototypical guy to run back kicks, and he looks like it.
Well, he had an interception last week. He figures I'm a ball carrier.
Right. But a reminder now, coming up on Saturday, Michigan trying to clinch a spot in the Rose Bowl. If Ohio State wins and if Illinois wins its game on Saturday, then it's a whole other story. And you'll see it at noon Eastern time and 9 in the morning on the West Coast. And then the Michigan basketball team against Arizona in the Hall of Fame Tip-Off Basketball Classic at 4 Eastern time Saturday.
What a great Saturday for me.
Yeah, I'll bet.
The old couch in the family room going to get a workout.
Hail to the victors valiant. Morris takes it out to the 35-yard line. Joe Morris's little brother is tackled by Tyrone Braxton. Joe Morris, of course, missing the whole season because of a foot injury for the Giants. And Morris, who last year set an NFL record in the final game of the season with 45 carries against Cincinnati, had 38 last week against Philadelphia. So smallish, but very durable. 2nd and 3, Morris again. No gain. It'll be 3rd and 3.
And, of course, Morris from the University of Michigan as we continue with our...
Well, I will just say this, keep one thing in mind, carrying the ball a lot. Nothing new to Jamie Morris when he got to professional football. You know, it was routine to have an afternoon of 25 or 30 carries all the way through his collegiate career. And some genes in the Morris family, of course, the younger brother of Joe Morris of the Giants, who's hurt on IR, but both of these guys remarkably durable. And it's, you know, you say that about Joe, who's now hurt, but still small but mighty.
3rd down and 3. And Rippon protected well, throws, and Sanders makes the catch at the 40-yard line and is pushed back. And his forward progress is enough for the 1st down. And the last time Denver saw Ricky Sanders, he was having a spectacular day in San Diego in Super Bowl 22.
I hope to tell you what, 9 receptions, almost 200 yards, a couple of touchdowns. What a day they had. 42-10 they beat this Denver Bronco team, and it's an entirely different Bronco defense you're looking at. They brought in Wade Phillips. Joe Collier, the defensive coordinator, is out. They play more of an all-around attack defense, and they're playing as well.
From the 40-yard line, Rippon throws and opens to make the catch is Sanders again, and this time a first down at the Bronco 43-yard line. He's tackled there by Dennis Smith.
Nothing more than a zone defense by Denver. Watch Braxton. He'll come up and make a run at Sanders, and then Ricky just settles down into the pocket. By the time Braxton or any of the other Broncos can respond, it's a completion. And Mark Rippon is really having a good year in the sense of the way he's throwing the ball. His problems have come in terms of fumbling when he's hit in the backfield, but 14 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. You stay in that kind of a plus category, you'll be all right.
First and 10 at the Denver 43-yard line, and they give it to Morris this time, and Morris works through for a pickup of more than 3. In fact, he turns it into a gain of about 7 with a second and third effort. Finally stopped by Simon Fletcher.
What Dan was talking about, he's just small in stature. He plays very big. About 185, 188 pounds. Low center of gravity. And when his brother Joe, when they really discovered him up with the Giants, was when they started giving him the ball 20, 25 times. They love to carry it a lot of times.
That second effort in breaking loose and picking up more yardage, I guess, kind of justifies the officials not blowing the whistle when he fumbled last time, and the play was still alive. That's the kind of leg drive Jamie Morris has.
Second and 3, Biner goes in motion. They give it to Morris again, and Morris is close to a first down. He is stopped by Rick Dennison. Mark Rippon in there. Dan mentioning the problems have not been throwing the ball. It's almost unbelievable, but Rippon has been sacked this season 12 times, and on those 12 sacks, he has fumbled the ball 11 times.
Hey, that can get to you after a while. It gets into your head. As a matter of fact, they've been giving Rippon special drills where he drops back and they attack the ball, they push him around, and they've been doing that all week long trying to solve the problem. But when you fumble 11 times out of 12 sacks, you've got something wrong.
And well, the only man who sacked him who didn't create the fumble was Howie Long in the game in Los Angeles.
And if you really want to analyze his numbers, if you want to look at the rating, if you want to look at the completions and percentages, touchdowns, interceptions, length of completion, every number that Mark Rippon has is categorically better than John Elway. On paper, Mark Rippon having a better season than John Elway. As Dan Reeves, though, is quick to point out, John Elway is 8-2, the number that he's concerned with.
They certainly have a better one tonight. Since you joined us late, John Elway in the locker room, stricken with a stomach virus earlier today. Could come in if we needed an emergency quarterback for Denver.
Meanwhile, 3rd and inches, and Ernest Biner lines up as the I-back with Orr in front of him, and they give it to Biner, who came over from Cleveland, and Biner takes it to the 32-yard line. And a first down, and the way was led by the rookie Mark Schlereth, who is the first native-born Alaskan to play in the National Football League, number 69.
And a man who will play in the National Football League for a long time. There's Schlereth. He's 6'3", about 290 pounds, and one of the strongest Redskins. Bench press is almost 500 pounds, and Joe Bugle loves this guy. This guy is going to be in this league for a long time to come. He's a big-time player.
They did not give him the spot that I thought that he had earned, and thus you can see it's no gain. And a fourth down.
This was surprising. It looked like he had it comfortably.
Yeah. They're saying his knee was down before he was able to lunge forward. And thus, instead of what appeared to be a first down to the more than 50,000 here at RFK, a decision for Gibbs. And they will go for it.
And there's Joe Bugle, and he's less than pleased with the spot as well.
It'd be a plus 50-yard field goal, and you're 5-5. You go for it.
So 4th and inches from the 33-yard line. This time it is Morris lined up as the sole setback. Morris gets the ball behind the line, and no doubt about this one as he takes it to the 28-yard line, and a first down, and Ed Simmons led the way that time.
And there's a great example of a quarterback using a quick snap, because that was a situation where the Piglet, or the former Hogs, got up over the ball and didn't dally. They got down, Jeff Bostic snapped the ball, and really you got the impression that Denver hadn't all the way dug in and prepared for that play. Simmons riding his guy upfield. Flair, Bostic up front, really creating that hole. Easy first down for the Redskins.
First and 10. Washington at the 28. 4:15 to go in the quarter. Game time at 7. Rippon on a bootleg roll and gets upended at the 22-yard line by Carl Mecklenburg.
Mecklenburg fought off the block of Don Warren. Rippon is not one of your great runners to begin with. Tried to break it back inside just as Mecklenburg got free of the block by Don Warren and turned him completely upside down. And that time, Rippon held on to the football.
I was going to say,
he's taking worse shots than that, and he's dropped it.
I think that's what the crowd is applauding. Here's a look at Mecklenburg making his move upfield, and Rippon taking a tumble and holding on to the ball, and that drew a nice little hand from the crowd here at RFK.
2nd and 4. With Viner in motion, this is Morris, and there's no room this time through the middle, but he still is able to pick up about a yard to the 21. It's going to set up a 3rd and 3, and the nose tackle Greg Cragen makes the stop.
Now, Cragen will love that play. That's one where Piner's coming in and trying to trap him. Nose tackle will take that play at 270 pounds, only having to fight off a back. He can live with that.
3rd and 3, and the 3 wideouts now come in. Clark, Monk, and Sanders. Viner is the sole setback. 3rd and 3 at the 21-yard line. 11th play of this drive. Sanders in motion, so all 3 wideouts to the right side. Rippon looks that way, throws that way, and it's dropped by Sanders. So it'll be 4th down. And you're looking at about a 38-yard field goal attempt.
And you can't fault Rippon on that. He had the ball right in there. It was not a beautifully thrown ball. It didn't have the spiral. It was almost end over end, but it was right on the hands, one that should have been caught. And it would have been first down yardage.
Make it a 39-yard attempt now. It'll be spotted at the 29-yard line. Chip Lohmiller. Ralph Mosienko to hold, and this kick is wide to the left. And backs it up again, and that's why Rippon is starting tonight. Meanwhile, after the missed Lohmiller field goal, Denver has it at the 21, 1st and 10. And this is Humphrey. And Humphrey turns nothing into something as he takes it out to the 28-yard line for a gain of about 7. Raven Caldwell in on the stop for the Skins.
A couple of minutes ago, Al mentioned about the wind here and what a nice, beautiful, balmy day was. Boy, the wind is really starting to swirl down on the field, starting to blow a lot of paper and debris down onto the field, and you have to wonder if it's not going to get increasingly difficult to throw the ball as this evening wears on, especially if the front does move through and deliver a little bad weather with it. Might behoove both these clubs to get as many points as they can as quickly as they can.
And it will affect the kicking game as well. 2nd down and 3 as Kubiak throws, and it's dropped at the 29 by Vance Johnson. One of the 3 amigos, and it's funny because Elway has not been utilizing the amigos that much. In fact, last week Elway did not complete a pass to a wide receiver in the win against the Chiefs until the last drive.
Of course, Ricky Nattiel just came back from a cracked kneecap 3 weeks ago and probably is not 100%. With the amigos, Johnson, Nattiel, and Jackson.
Well, you're getting a whole new weapon here with the Denver Broncos. It's called play-action passing. When you can run the ball, your play action means something. It's never meant anything to the Broncos before.
3rd and 3. Kubiak out of the shotgun. Takes the inside handoff, takes the little shovel pass, and runs for the 1st down. A lot of trickery and deceit, and Todd Bowles runs him out of bounds after the 1st down.
Kubiak, of course, as we said, no John Elway in moving the ball on the ground, but he is a good scrambler. And again, we have watched him in preseason games, and a very poised young man. But what a career you play behind somebody like John Elway, who's one of the more durable quarterbacks around in this game. You just don't get to see that much. He had only thrown the ball twice this year, and this is only his 5th start of his career.
At the 33-yard line, Kubiak changing the play at the line. The play clock is down to 5, and he gives it to Humphrey. And Humphrey out past the 40 and a 1st down to the 47. Very instinctive runner. Cuts to the outside and turns it into a 1st down. He is stopped by Alvin Walton.
He had a good call by Kubiak. You're exactly right, Al. He looked it over. He saw what he had worked on all week. He saw the defensive set he wanted to come with that play. and it was a good call to get the first down. And interesting graphic.
There are the rookies in the National Football League. Barry Sanders, of course, leading the way, but right behind Bobby Humphrey, off to a great start tonight. Barry Sanders of Detroit, what a sensational runner he is.
Huge day again for him yesterday in the losing cause at Cincinnati. Here's Humphrey to the outside. Past the 50 and a pickup of 8, taking it to the 46-yard line. And boy, has he ever given Denver a running game.
Well, I think back to what was that, Super Bowl after the 87 season, January of 88, and it was the Redskins and Timmy Smith who just stuffed the ball down the throat of the Denver Broncos, and the Broncos at that time really not capable of running the football on anyone. But oh, what a difference a couple of years make. This is not Super Bowl 22. This is not the same Denver rushing attack.
2nd and 2 from the 46. Half a minute to go in the opening quarter. Here's Humphrey. And this time he gets tripped up by A.J. Johnson, who comes up from the corner, got a hand on his ankle, and that ended the play.
A.J. making his 3rd start tonight. Darrell Green, of course, one of the Redskins that is injured. He's on IR, broke his wrist in October, and A.J. Johnson, the rookie out of Southwest Texas State, has taken his spot, and we've already told you about the other rookie cornerback. Let's take a look at Humphrey again. Tried to slide inside. Good move by A.J. Johnson. Sprinting up, and as Humphrey stepped back inside, tripped him up.
Well, it was really an example, Frank, of the Broncos going to 2 tight ends on that side.
And a flag is down as Coleman had jumped offside. Vance Johnson makes the catch. They have the first down anyway to the 42-yard line, and they can take the better of the 2 propositions here. Because it was Monty Coleman who had jumped off.
Offside, number 51, defense, decline. First down.
Almost a situation where a defensive player is glad they completed the pass. The numbers from quarter number 1 is the one that jumps out at you is the number, the -9 passing yards for the Broncos. And again, if you just tuned in, John Elway in the locker room with a stomach virus. It's Gary Kubiak starting and playing up to this point. No one up here looking for Elway. He's seriously ill.
Kubiak is 3 out of 6. Off the play fake, going deep and too deep, intended for Johnson, and Mayu is staying right with him, step for step.
We saw some heroics by backup quarterbacks earlier this year. I remember we had the Broncos against the Bills, and it was Frank Reich for the Buffalo Bills that engineered that win over the Los Angeles Rams. And asking a lot of Gary Kubiak here this evening to step in for John Elway. There is the man, Steve Sewell, who, ironically, Al, last night you asked Dan Reeves, who's your backup quarterback, and he started to laugh.
Yeah, he said, what do you mean? I said, who's your emergency quarterback? He said, what are you talking about? I said, well, what if you need a 3rd quarterback? And he thought for a minute. He said, I guess it's Sewell out of a single wing. Kubiak throws, and Mark Jackson makes the catch at the 27-yard line, and a first down.
I'll tell you, Kubiak showed you something there. He had Wilbur Marshall right in his face. He paid for it after he delivered the ball, but he was very cool and delivered it right on the numbers with Marshall right in his face. And here comes Wilbur, the former Bear, who is really starting to be an outstanding linebacker for these Redskins. Kubiak knew he was going to get this shot, hung in there, and delivered the ball right on the numbers for the first down. I like that.
15-yard pickup. 4th-year wide receiver out of Purdue, Mark Jackson. 1st and 10, Denver at the 27-yard line. And moving through the middle, this is Melvin Bratton, the rookie out of Miami. He is stopped by Todd Bowles. And Bratton, of course, with Humphrey and Sammy Winder out of the backfield. And don't forget, Tony Dorsett started the season as a Bronco and hurt himself in training camp and is gone for the year. Well, the best matchup of the season coming up next Monday as the Giants and the 49ers, each with a mark of 9-2, have at it. You'll see it on Monday Night Football from Candlestick Park a week from tonight.
And we'll hear from Giants coach Bill Parcells at halftime tonight. On a remarkable job rebuilding on the fly along with general manager George Young.
2nd and 8. Here's a draw, and it goes nowhere as Bobby Humphrey gets stacked up in the backfield. Charles Mann was there, and so was Tracy Rocker, the rookie out of Auburn, number 99.
fall heavily on the shoulders of Charles Mann as the Redskins continue to close out this season and fight for a playoff spot. Two-time Pro Bowler, played through last year with a series of nagging injuries, a severely injured hip, and then it was a foot. But he's a leader, and he is going to have to lead the rest of the season if the Redskins are going to be there.
3rd down and 12 from the 29-yard line. And this is Winder, and Tracy Rocker wraps him up, and a flag goes down at the end of the play at the 36-yard line. Could it be a face mask? Dick Jorgensen getting the word.
Well, the flag comes in from the far sideline, and that's the official who had the cleanest view if it would have been a face mask. Play going away from us. You see Dan Reeves holding up the hand, asking if it's a 5. You assume that's what it has to be.
Personal foul, 15-yard face mask foul. Defense, first down.
A 5-yard wouldn't have got the first down for him. This one will get the first down for him.
Oh, and this is going to be about a 25-yard swing when you factor in the loss on the play. And then the 15 yards on the play. There it is, right in the middle of your screen. There's the left hand of Tracy Rocker. Boy, he even comes around with the right hand, trying to get in from the backside. And the determination by the officials, a flagrant face mask penalty, thus 15 yards instead of the 5.
And a very big penalty that has just about taken Denver out of field goal range, in fact. Instead, a 1st and 10 at the 20 with Mark Jackson in motion. And Humphrey skipping through the middle of the line, picking up 4 down to the 16, where he's tackled by Charles Mann. 12:15 to go. First half, 7-7 tie. Again, Frank talking about Mann. You know about Dexter Manley. 3 strikes and he's out. Lifetime suspension, violating the drug abuse policy. Can apply for reinstatement within a calendar year or after a calendar year.
There's Richie Pettibone, the defensive head coach of the Washington Redskins. Their coordinator, their main man on defense, calling all the signals. You saw him sending them in.
2nd and 6 from the 16-yard line. Humphrey. And he takes it down to the 10-yard line. Loose ball, but no, they're saying it was down. They say he was down, and the play whistled dead just outside the 10-yard line. No fumble. And, of course, 2 fumbles have been the key plays in this game, 1 from each side, which the opposition has converted into a touchdown.
Oh, that ball is out before Humphreys hits the ground. That is a fumble all the way. There is no way you could look at that and come to any other conclusion. The ball is out. Of course, again, we're looking at it in super slow motion, but another look. Watch the right arm of Bobby Humphrey. He's still in the air, and the ball is clearly out.
And Alvin Walton is also out, as you saw, after that tackle. On 3rd and inches, Kubiak, a lot of play action and attempts to hit Pat Kelly, and a flag is down. Kelly, the number 3 tight end in that set on 3rd and inches, and this time the penalty is against Denver. So Dick Jorgensen will tell us.
Holding, number 60, offense, 10 yards, still 3rd down.
That the call goes against Gerald Perry, the good-looking second-year tackle, the 305-pounder out of Southern University. Move it back to the 20-yard line. 3rd and 11 now.
Richie Pettibone continuing to give the Denver Broncos offensive line a lot of different looks, a lot of blitzing, too, and I don't think he's going to back away from that until he's convinced that Gary Kubiak can cope with it.
Well, that's the first page in any defensive coordinator's playbook when there's an inexperienced quarterback. Go to the blitz.
3rd and 11 from the 21-yard line. A 4-man rush. Kubiak throws over the middle, and the catch is made by the tight end, Orson Mobley, who takes it to the 3-yard line. Kubiak paid the price, but as he gets up, he'll go to the line on 1st and goal.
Again, Kubiak knew he was going to get the shot. It was a late, delayed blitz on the part of Monty Coleman. He was right in Kubiak's face. I don't know how he even got the ball through there to get the completion, but again, what poise as he delivers the ball to Mobley for the first down.
Mobley only has 7 catches on the year, and boy, what a move he puts on Clarence Vaughn, number 31. Here's the hit we're going to show you on Gary Kubiak. Keep in mind, Steve Sewell's next in line. Oh, my gosh, what a shot by Monty Coleman.
Now live again on 1st and goal from the 3. Play fake, throw, and incomplete. Too high. Intended for Bobby Humphrey. In that same area was Pat Kelly, the tight end. It'll be 2nd and goal.
What a sharp pass by Kubiak that time means the Denver touchdown. And he knows it. That ball just floated away on him.
They haven't gotten to Humphrey that much as a receiver. Bobby's only caught 9 balls this season.
The 2nd down inside the 5-yard line. You're running the ball fairly effectively. I don't know, this isn't a time to stay with your running game. Try to stuff it in.
Or certainly give your quarterback an answer one, a little bit of a rollout as they did before when they got down here.
He's got Bratton and Humphrey in the backfield, and they give it to Bratton, and he gets tackled behind the line. Darrell Grant, number 77, drags him down at the 5-yard line. Ninth-year defensive tackle out of Rice, of course, with Manley and Mann and Dave Butts through the years getting all of the acclaim. Darrell Grant is the quiet lineman for Washington, but not on that play.
Well, Denver now decides that they're going to go into their passing formation. In comes Sammy Winder and a bevy of receivers, and rather than Humphrey here, they elect to go to Melvin Bratton, who's not really been the guy that's been involved in their running attack, but they go to the passing set now.
They have Michael Young split wide to the right, drawing man coverage. Kubiak throws to the back of the end zone, caught by Natil for the touchdown.
Ricky Natil, 4th reception since he came back from that cracked kneecap. And a great catch. So he had to go up high to get it. He only goes about 5'9". And again, Kubiak with a fine pass. He had to throw right through defenders and over one to get it there.
First time I saw him release this, it looked like it was gone. That looks like the ball's floating away again, but look at the fabulous catch and the fingertip control by Natil. The wind is gusting severely on the field. Great touchdown for the Broncos.
David Fredwell out of Kubiak's hold puts it through.
I think I took 4 or 5 field goals in that game, but then I came down to the last kick of the game, and it was 47-45, and I missed a 39-yard field goal that cost us the game. The only field goal that I missed in my career that cost us the game, and it happened to be on Monday Night Football.
All kinds of Monday night memories.
Oh, a lot of them right here at RFK Stadium, no question about that. Their Redskins have provided so many exciting games. We had a thriller here to kick off this season, our 20th anniversary season. The Giants eked out the victory in the final second.
Because of the wind, Braxton holds the ball in place and is taken at the 5-yard line on a hop by Joe Howard. And he brings it back out to the 29-yard line.
I guess an addendum to the Mosley memory was that he had his record for consecutive field goals in the National Football League tied yesterday by Kevin Butler of the Bears.
23.
And Butler not getting an opportunity to try for number 24, so it's still alive.
I started to laugh here. As you mentioned during the commercial, Dan, the Broncos ought to feel right at home the way this field looks right now.
Yeah, the paper and confetti all over the field. Not by design, though. The gusting wind is doing it. 18-play scoring drive. It doesn't get any better than that.
From the 29-yard line, this is Ernest Viner out to the 33-yard line. On the draft day trade, Mike Oliphant went the other way to Cleveland. And Washington, with Bobby Beathard still the GM that day, picked up Viner, and on the same afternoon picked up Gerald Riggs from Atlanta.
Interesting because it was Bobby Beathard who was so high on Mike Oliphant. Took him in the 3rd round. And they traded for Ernest Viner, who had led the Browns in rushing and receiving.
Dennis Smith goes limping off for safety. He's replaced by Randy Robbins. 2nd and 6 from the 33-yard line. And Ricky Sanders makes the catch at the 40 for a first down. Stopped by Mark Munford. Speaking of Bobby Beathard, he raised a few eyebrows here because he remarked yesterday on NBC that he felt that Dexter Manley's loss would not hurt the Redskins that much.
Bobby's been raising a lot of eyebrows here in Washington. The comments he made earlier in the year about Doug Williams and his workout habits and whether or not he kept himself in shape. And I think it's safe to say Bobby doing an effective job of severing all ties with the Washington Redskins. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line.
Denver ahead 14-7, 8 minutes to go in the half. And Mark Rippon has to step up, fire on the run, throws a wounded duck, but right on the money to Art Monk, who makes the catch at the 50-yard line for his 50th catch of the season.
And his 626th reception for a career that is heading for Canton, Ohio. And he had turned up with the yardage for the first down like any smart veteran receiver will do. Big man, big, strong receiver.
You see the delay by Braxton? Art made his move back to the inside, and Tyrone Braxton hesitated for just that second, and he got there just as the ball did. You have to wonder if maybe a little quicker break, he might not have been able to break it up.
Monk has now caught a pass in 95 straight games, and on first down from the 49, Rippon throwing, and only one man even close, and the flag goes down. Jimmy Johnson, the tight end, had trouble getting loose.
Well, Dennis Smith hit Johnson about 10 yards downfield. That contact has to come in a 5-yard zone, and Johnson trying to make a break, and Smith yanks him a good one.
They're indicating holding, but it was an illegal contact by Dennis Smith, who had Jimmy Johnson flying by him.
Number 49, defense declined. Holding, number 56, defense accepted, 5 yards, first down.
Well, a plethora of penalties against the Broncos. Michael Brooks and his holding call will be the one accepted. The chuck by Dennis Smith declined. That's an automatic first down with the defensive holding.
But if Dennis Smith does not knock off Jimmy Johnson, that would have been 6 points.
First and 10, Washington at the Broncos 44-yard line. On a delay, this is Ernest Viner swinging to the outside, and down he goes, tackled by Dennison at the 37-yard line.
Boy, and a good block up on the line of scrimmage by Don Warren, the tight end that time. Warren's been troubled with injuries as well for the Redskins, and boy, he's so critical to their rushing attack. The 11-year pro out of San Diego State. More often than not, the ball's coming right behind him, and he makes the key block on the line of scrimmage. See the block by Simmons? There was the block by Warren, taking Michael Brooks back to the inside.
Second and a long 2 at the 37-yard line. And here's Viner, and Viner gets maybe a short 3 as Greg Cragen is there for the stop, and it might be close enough to measure. And there is Wade Phillips, and he is certainly one of the men of the hour in Denver. The son of Bum Phillips, and a man they'll begin to talk about as a prospective future head coach.
Oh, they already are.
Football League.
He has done an amazing job. Started out with his dad down in New Orleans, and for the past 3 years under Buddy Ryan, where he was kind of in Buddy's shadow, but he's done a miraculous job here with Denver. They got bigger football players, and you can see just that much.
Dick Jorgensen getting down on his knees. You know, a lot of people, by the way, talking about Wade Phillips, forget that he actually has some head coaching experience. He took over as head coach of the New Orleans Saints, I think, for the final 3 or 4 games of a season after his father was fired, the 1985 season, I believe. So he, in fact, has some head coaching experience, and you're right. He's one of those guys, people like Floyd Peters, Bob Schnelker, their names always come up.
3rd and inches at the 34-yard line. Clock running, 6:20 to go in the half. And Morris looks for those inches, and I tell you, they're tough to find.
Hello.
Steve Atwater, number 27, the rookie, the hard-hitting rookie, and you saw why.
Now, that's how you come up and give a little support from a free safety position. Of course, it's a lot easier when you're 6'3" and 220 pounds. Steve Atwater, a real candidate for the AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year. This guy will put it to you.
2 safeties back there, Dan. Dennis Smith and Steve Atwater, 2 of the most solid, hard-hitting safeties around. Now, did you see Jamie Morris snap right back at you?
It's a first down. He picks it up, and Atwater pays the price as he comes out of the game for a moment. At the 34-yard line, the pass floating because of the wind intended for Viner. Wyman Henderson covering on the play. It's incomplete, and it's second down and 10. And a shoulder. Steve Atwater, they're working on his shoulder on the far side.
Well, he delivers the hit of the game on Jamie Morris, and as Al said, pays the price.
Jamie Morris stayed, and he left. I can tell you how tough Jamie Morris is.
Skip Corrington comes in to fill Atwater.
Atwater and Smith give the Broncos as physical a pair of safeties as they as there is in the league. Smith having a Pro Bowl type year, and Steve Atwater is a guy that's going to be in a lot of Pro Bowls for it's over for him.
Sanders in motion, second down and 10. Rippon throws over the middle. The catch is made by Monk. And Monk takes it to the 27-yard line, where he was short of the first down by roughly 3. Cragen and Brooks converge on the tackle. Spotted closer to the 28-yard line. Make it the 3rd and 4 upcoming.
Wind is continuing to swirl as we look at Art Monk. Took it inside, read the defense, stepped to the outside. But this kind of a night is a field goal kicker's nightmare.
5 minutes to go, first half.
Oh, we're getting some major cardboard coming through here now.
14-7 Denver. Rippon fires, and that's an errant pass at the 21-yard line. And it will be 4th down. The pass intended for Ricky Sanders.
Hey, we've got some big junk flying around now. There's a piece out there at the 30-yard line that must be 3 by 3 or something.
I'll tell you what, this is a pretty good front coming through here. Flight attendants be seated.
Look at this. There's Dick Jorgensen getting rid of this.
Well, they gave out about 50,000 plus posters tonight of the Redskins over the decade, and from very short yardage, at least they're going to line up as if they're going to go on 4th down. An offside penalty in Denver would give the Redskins a 1st down. Let's see if they're going to go, however, on 4th and 4.
And they are. 4th and 4. Rippon with a very deep drop. Pump fake twice. Goes deep. The pass floats. Knocked down. Intended for Ricky Sanders. Knocked down by Wyman Henderson. No flag.
Well, the ball severely underthrown, and Sanders complaining loudly that he didn't have a chance to react back to it. Again, there's Henderson and Sanders, man coverage all the way. And that's just superb coverage by Sanders. Now, here's where it comes into play. Now, there's not much you can say about Henderson's coverage. He reacts back to the ball. Now, granted, there's a whole lot of contact, but, you know, Henderson has a chance to make a play on that ball as well, and it's severely underthrown.
Interesting. That would have been about a, 45-yard field goal, 4th down and 4. Joe Gibbs says, no, let's go for it. I don't know whether it's just that he sees maybe a high-scoring game coming up tonight, or whether he's concerned about Low Miller and the wind that's swirling violently around.
Frank, what do you think? I think that's just tremendous coverage by Wyman Henderson. We've got a pump, we've got a hook.
He's going right for the ball. He had every right to go for it, just as the receiver did. Denver will field started there last year for them, and over on the other side is Tyrone Braxton, starting where Mark Haynes used to play.
Humphrey takes the toss and picks up a couple. Bobby Humphrey is stopped by Tracy Rocker. We have 4 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the half. Again, if you tuned in late, John Elway, stomach virus, still in the locker room. Gary Kubiak has gone all the way for Denver and figures to go all the way. Washington capitalized on a big early break on a Kubiak fumble. Scored to make it 7-0, but then Denver capitalized on a Washington fumble, actually a strip. And then marched 79 yards for the tie-breaking touchdown, and 14-7 Broncos. Draw, Humphrey, he escapes Rocker's grasp and picks up the 1st down. Taken down by Martin Mayhew on the far side.
We talked about the new dimension that Humphrey gives the Broncos. He is one fine runner. He does everything so subtly out there. He makes tacklers miss sure tackles, and he does it so easy. But there's no question who is in charge of the running game now. Sammy Winder, a 5,000-yard rusher for the Broncos, has only had a few attempts this year as compared to that of Humphrey, who is now approaching 700 yards on the season.
1st and 10, Denver from the 42-yard line. Humphrey. And this time he's stacked up. Reeve and Caldwell is there. And Reeves pointing out last night, among other things for the Broncos, the fact they're 8-2, they could very well be 10-0. The only 2 games they lost. Remember the game at Cleveland? Because of the dog pound incident, they had to change ends of the field, and that was in a way instrumental in the Cleveland win. And the other was that seesaw battle with Philadelphia a couple of weeks back at Mile High.
It hasn't necessarily been pretty. It's certainly been different. These wins by these Denver Broncos. They've been doing it on the ground. They've been doing it with superb defense. They beat Kansas City, closing seconds last week, 16-13. Long drive when they needed it, and they got it.
2nd and 10. It's Sewell in motion. He stays in the block. And then Kubiak is able to escape one man, find Jackson at the 50-yard line, and with a nice little move, he takes it to the Washington 44 and a first down.
Well, I'm sure that John Elway is in the dressing room and in some proximity to a television set, and he must be awful proud of the move that Gary Kubiak put on right there to get away from Wilbur Marshall. Wilbur Marshall untouched on the play, and Kubiak able to just give him a little juke and get to the outside. Now, you might as well take the 8 off the jersey and slap up a number 7, because that just looked like John Elway reincarnated.
But he does so well. He, of course, does not do it like John Elway, but he has great moves. Here comes Wilbur Marshall. Great shot at Kubiak. Kubiak looked downfield, a little pump fake, and Wilbur Marshall went for it. Kubiak stepped around him and fires the completion. Kubiak doing a fine job tonight, and he has the Broncos out on top with the 2-minute warning here in the first half.
You're in Hong Kong. I like it.
I like you loud and clear. I like you close and near. I like my MCI.
In the first half, Denver first and 10 at the Washington 43. Broncos have 2 timeouts remaining. They lead by 7. And Kubiak airing it out, going deep and too deep, intended for Jackson, who tries to draw a flag. And Martin Mayhew with the coverage on the play.
It's going to be next to impossible to complete a pass of that length in this game with the wind blowing the way it is. I have to think that a quarterback's going to be able to try it over and over and over, but it's impossible to put any sort of a touch on the ball to drop it in, throwing it 40 or 50 yards in the air.
And now we have a little bit of rain, do we? A little sprinkle here at RFK as well. Sure do. A couple of umbrellas popping out. 2nd and 10 from the 43-yard line. Over the middle, the catch is made at the 38-yard line by Van Johnson. And it will be 3rd down and 5. Clock running with 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining in the quick little fire drill there. Yeah. 3rd down and 5. It's great wearing contact lenses on a night like tonight, isn't it, Frank?
Everything's blowing underneath him. I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's starting
to
wild here now. Raise our papers up, and the temperature is still not very cold. I mean, I would say it's still in the 50s, but the wind is making it really impossible to throw the ball with any touch.
3rd down and 5, and Kubiak off his back foot throws incomplete. Johnson was slanting over the middle and too high for him. Too short for Natil.
Well, Pettibone, though, staying with that blitz. That time he brought the safety, Alvin Walton. He brought Monty Coleman, and Kubiak this time avoided the blitz and avoided the sack, but he had no receiver that he could go to get the completion of the first down, so the punting unit comes out.
Frank, I think we call that a mega blitz. That was everybody.
Everybody but Richie Pettibone.
Richie's too big to get there these days.
Mike Horan,
He did grow, didn't he?
when it leaves his foot, and he takes it on a bounce, but he still is able to get it away. A wobbly kick, and all things considered, not bad. Real good.
He'll take that.
Ozzie Smith would be real proud of that. That was a great job on a ground ball. We may have a new concept, the ugly snap of the year, and there's my nomination.
In Super Bowl 22 in San Diego, this touchdown pass from Doug Williams to Clint Didier capped a 35-point second quarter as the Redskins romped, beating the Denver Broncos 42-10 to take the Super Bowl. RFK Stadium, Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Deerdorf with 1 minute and 2 to go in the first half. Washington has the ball in the rain and in the wind. Denver has the lead. Redskins have 2 timeouts left in this half. Mark Rippens and Art Monk in motion, and then they keep it on the ground, and they give it to Biner, and he picks up about 4, so it appears Washington will be content to run out the clock. And Mecklenburg makes the tackle, and you still see that water saying, yeah, that's good. Fool your own team, fans.
That water showing his shoulders fine. With the upraised arms, egging the crowd on.
Meanwhile, you've got offside against Denver on the play. So that negates the play, and with a 5-yard penalty, puts it out at the 22-yard line and makes it 1st and 5.
It could change the thinking of Joe Gibbs on the sidelines. The plays being signaled in by Rippon from the sidelines, or rather by Stan Humphries, the other quarterback, along with Doug Williams, but it's Humphries that signals the plays in.
And they've got Sanders and Clark split to the right. There goes Monk to the left on 1st and 5 from the 22. Sanders in motion. And this time they will go to the air as they change the philosophy, set up a screen to Biner, and then Biner runs into his own man and 2 Broncos as well, including Michael Brooks.
Now continuing to boo the high percentage type of play where you're not going to get it picked off and you have a sure chance for a completion, but you also have the odds go up on getting the first down out of it. Crowd doesn't like it. They want to see the Redskins go up on top. Rippon going to Sanders or to Monk or to Gary Clark.
Meanwhile, we can tell you there's a report tonight. Gene Stallings is out as the head coach of the Phoenix Cardinals, and Hank Kuhlman, the running backs coach, will take over for the balance of the season. That had been rumored earlier today, and apparently it is now being confirmed. Stallings out at Phoenix. 2nd and 7. The play clock is down to 0, and the Redskins are content to run out the clock to the dissatisfaction of the crowd at RFK. 14-7. David Treadwell attempts to put it in the air. Instead, it's a ground ball that dies at the 25. Ricky Sanders picks it up and gets pushed back. And so Washington will begin at about the 25-yard line. A little skirmish with Jimmy Johnson. And on the Denver end, Pat Kelly. In the Denver locker room, John Elway still there, not in uniform. Stomach virus, again on an IV before the game. They said it was highly doubtful he would play. He could play in an emergency situation, but right now still in the locker room, not in uniform. And Kubiak has led them to a 14-7 halftime lead. Mark Rippon on 1st down. Throws over the middle to Gary Clark, who's wide open, and Dennison makes the tackle out at the 35-yard line and very close to a 1st down.
One of the traits that I admire so much about Gary Clark and Ricky Sanders, the small receivers of the Redskins. We all know that Art Monk at 6'3" is the big possession type receiver, but Clark and Sanders both have a real desire even to go across the middle and handle the football in the big traffic. They know they're going to take a hit from the linebackers and the defensive linemen coming back from the line of scrimmage. Needless to say, they're going to get hit by the guys back in the secondary, but Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders, 2 tough receivers willing to do the tough work inside.
All of them heading for plus 50 reception years as they did last year.
And over 800 yards in receiving. There are the numbers. Each turnover resulted in a subsequent touchdown. And then Denver mounted a long drive, and the key on that drive was the Tracy Rocker face mask that kept Denver going, and in they went for the touchdown. Here on 1st down, it's Ernest Biner picking up about 2 out to the 38-yard line, and Ron Holmes is in on the tackle.
You have to assume, though, that the weather is having some bearing on the offenses of both of these clubs, because 105 and 121 yards for their respective teams, really pathetic numbers in a half. And there is Washington and their first half possession. Not a whole lot after the touchdown. Went downhill from there.
And the touchdown, after the fumble, they had taken over on the 8-yard line, and Morris ran it in immediately. Rippon, with time, has Clark open, and Gary Clark makes the catch and is out of bounds at the 21-yard line. So Clark, who had a pretty quiet first half, has a noisy beginning to the second half. Atwater was on the blitz that time. Clark got free.
And under difficult circumstances, Frank, what a throw by Mark Rippon.
All right, here is Gary Clark, and about this point, he's looking for the football. He is covered well there. It's Wyman Henderson, and he sees Rippon come out of the pocket. He turns it up, and they work it out together in beautiful concert, and Rippon flushed out of the pocket and fires the completion. And now right here, Clark is starting to look back in between 2 defenders and takes a shot and holds on.
From the 21-yard line, Jamie Morris, a big hole through the middle. He's tackled by Atwater at the 12-yard line. As the crowd comes alive, the Redskins on the move. It'll be 2nd down and 2.
Redskins doing what they do best. It's just their old counter. Watch the two linemen to the left side. That's Lachey, that's McKenzie. Boy, look at the block by Jim Lachey. He sends Rick Dennison into the next zip code. Oh, Jamie Morris just slices off right off the rear end of Lachey. Whoa, what a tag he puts on Dennison. Whoa, the big uglies, they're blocking tonight.
2nd and 2, Biner in motion. And here's Morris following those big uglies for a first down. And then the ball comes loose. There's been no whistle.
They're going to call it a fumble.
At the 9-yard line, it is still alive. And who's got the football? At the bottom of the pile inside the 10.
Boy, that's the second time Jamie Morris is being held up, and then the ball is stripped out. The first one ruled a fumble, and the second one as well.
Keep in mind, we've been watching Jamie Morris tonight, though. He has been stopped at the line of scrimmage frequently and has been able to surge forward for extra yardage, and he's not been drawing that progress whistle. And the Broncos seem to think they got it. It was going away from us, and perhaps we can give you a better angle. The Redskins are incensed.
And they do. Denver has the football at the 9-yard line.
Well, this raises a very interesting question of what constitutes forward progress. When a running back's forward progress is halted, when it ends there, that's supposed to be the end of the play. And I think that's Joe Gibbs in his argument right now, thinking that Jamie Morris and his forward progress were halted.
Morris is in there somewhere. There he is. He just stripped out, is pulled out of there by Dennis Smith, who did it the time before.
Boy, that's a very difficult call. You could see Jamie Morris, his legs were still moving, the pile was still moving, and now we're going to have, it looks like, the replay come into play.
They are reviewing it as we speak.
All right, here's from the other side of the field. This ought to give us a good, clear angle of it.
Morris backed up there. Now watch number 49, Dennis Smith. In there, pulling and tugging, and finally the ball comes out, and he was moving forward. He'll let this stand.
And the play does stand.
And I can't argue with it. The pile was still moving forward.
Denver from the 9-yard line. This is Bratton giving them a little bit of breathing space. Pick up of 3. Michael Brooks, by the way, was the man who recovered that fumble for the Broncos.
And there's no way, as the official looks at that, the pile is still moving forward. You've got to rule it a fumble, and let's give credit where credit is due. That is a big-time play by Dennis Smith, rooting in there, digging out the football, and actually making something out of nothing.
He turned in the daily double tonight. Ronnie Lott's partner in the secondary at USC years ago.
Danny Reeves' first-round draft pick when he arrived on the scene in Denver.
2nd and 7 from the 12-yard line. Straight up the middle and through the hole goes Humphrey across the 15 to the 16-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 4 upcoming. Humphrey out of Alabama, left Alabama. Alabama, of course, is undefeated. Durant Stacy doing a tremendous job, and we're going to see them in all likelihood in a Sugar Bowl years night against, the way it appears right now, Miami. 3rd and 4 from the 16-yard line. Passing set, Kubiak from the gun.
4 wide receivers now for the Broncos.
Jackson in motion, 3 of them to the right side. Kubiak looks that way, then throws, and it's a first down to the 21-yard line. The catch is made by Vance Johnson, who had slipped in between 2 defenders, Vaughn and A.J. Johnson, to make the catch.
Well, when you can't get into a quarterback space when they have 4 wide receivers, you're guaranteed you're going to have somebody in single coverage downfield. And that time, Kubiak, who's been very cool, very calm for as little as he's played tonight, looked it over and found Johnson. He had individual coverage on him, and he picks up the first down.
11 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. Denver ahead, 14-7. Broncos trying to go to 9-2. On a delay, Humphrey out to the 25-yard line. He is tackled there by Darrell Grant.
Different-looking football team without John Elway in there, one that we've watched over the years. And there is an injured player down, and that's
Marcus Cook.
Marcus Cook, who is filled in for Dexter Manley over up front.
Well, a team that plays a 4-man line now only has 5 healthy defensive linemen.
Well, one of them just got here.
2nd down and 7 from the 25-yard line. 10:20 to go, 3rd quarter. Bronx ahead by 7. Humphrey on the inside handoff, swings to the outside, and gets taken down by Kurt Gouveia back at the 21-yard line. And that'll make it 3rd down and 11. 11.
You know about the defensive line, but also along that line in terms of linebackers, the Redskins have had some major changes. Neil Okowitz, who's been such a mainstay at the middle linebacking position, is out with an injured knee, and team totally decimated by injury.
3rd down and 11 from the 21-yard line with the 4 receivers in there. Kubiak out of the gun. Redskins rush 4, and Kubiak unloads, and Johnson almost makes the catch. Again, because of the wind, we've got 2 flags down as well, but the pass floating, and let's see about the penalties. 2 flags.
Illegal motion, number 60, offense. Holding, number 47, defense. The penalty's offset. Still 3rd down at the line of scrimmage.
Well, that's Gerald Perry and A.J. Johnson, the penalized ones for their respective clubs. And you heard it from Dick Jorgensen. Let's do it over. And the guy who really got away with that one is A.J. Johnson. If it's not for that motion penalty against Perry, that's a 1st down for Denver because of the hold.
4 wide receivers once again. McHugh right and Johnson left. Top of your screen.
3rd and 11 from the 21-yard line, and now Johnson comes to the right. There's 3 men to the right, 1 to the left, and Kubiak looks left and goes to the one-on-one coverage and hits Michael Young, a Plan B free agent, played with the Rams last year. And Michael Young, in situations like this one, in similar situations this season, has really excelled, and he has the 1st down here.
They like to hit him on the backside, as Denver calls it. That's the weak side. They had him lined up over on the left side with Vance Johnson. They brought Johnson in motion. Johnson coming across in front of your picture. Now he is on the weak side all by himself, man for man. Makes a good move and gets himself open right in front of Wayne Davis.
And Kubiak doing what Elway has loved to do, and they're going to take a look at
well, did you see Young?
Inbound.
Did you see his left foot? His left foot came down out of bounds, but you can't be sure, at least the way we thought, whether that was his 1st or 2nd step. They reviewed it and said it was his 2nd, so he had both feet in bounds prior to that.
Needed 11, got 12, 1st down from the 33-yard line. Here's Humphrey, and he goes into the middle for a couple. Mentioned that Elway this year has loved in that 4-receiver set to look Michael Young's way, with so much of the attention paid to Jackson and Johnson and Teal, and Young gets one-on-one, and he zips it in there.
Well, he's made the most of it. I mean, Young has over a 20-yard per catch average. Difficult to argue with numbers like that. That's his 12th reception of the year, but before that, averaging 20.6 yards a grab. That's big time. Those are big time numbers.
2nd and 8 from the 35-yard line. 8:50 to go, 3rd quarter. Denver ahead, 14-7, without Elway. Kubiak gives it to Humphrey on the draw. He takes it to the 38-yard line, and Govea is in on the tackle, and it will be 3rd down and 5.
We saw Kubiak at the line of scrimmage changing that play. We saw him do it in the 1st quarter, and it was very effective, coming to a quick draw to the left side. That time the Redskins, perhaps even picking up on the change at the line of scrimmage, absolutely stuffed it.
3rd and 5. They have Young in the game again. They send him to the left. Same way they set up on that 3rd and 11 now. Let's see if they move Johnson in motion to the right as they did before. This time they don't. 2 to the left and 2 to the right, and the pass is thrown and intercepted at the 40-yard line by A.J. Johnson. And A.J. Johnson takes it to the 13-yard line.
And A.J. Johnson, talk about locking in on the quarterback and making your break early. Boy, that is a textbook way to step in front of the receiver and get the interception. His first interception in the National Football League, and the rookie makes it count.
Now, Kubiak, who has not played that much, is looking all the way to his receiver, Vance Johnson. On the inside, he breaks to the outside, and Danny Reeves incensed over that.
Well, he looks like he's incensed with Vance Johnson for not coming back to the ball. You see Dan make that hook move like Vance. You got to come back and help out your quarterback.
Second huge break for Washington. They capitalized on the first one in the first quarter, and this time a loss as Jamie Morris gets stuffed back at the 15-yard line by Mark Munford, and the crowd boos that play call.
Well, there's a situation, one, of Jamie Morris not having a whole lot of area up there in which to run, but also there's Jamie Morris in a reaction to the way he's fumbled the ball twice already. I mean, that was not a real strong effort that time by Jamie Morris, tucking the ball up with both hands and more or less just going down at the side of a defender rather than risk trying to make something happen with the ball held loosely.
And Ed Simmons had a hard time laying down his block as well, and that created no room at all for him. Second down and 12 with Sanders going in motion. Rippon has it batted in the air and incomplete. Cragen dove for it after Holmes tipped it, and it falls to the ground.
Cragen having a big year at that nose tackle. Not one of your more athletic nose tackles, but he just never gives you less than 100%.
Well, there's Holmes. Watch him go up and get it with his right hand. That's good eye-hand coordination. He's being blocked on the inside, and that's a situation where sometimes you're better off letting your guy get upfield a little bit. Holmes never got off the line of scrimmage and was able to time his leap.
Third down and 12. Monk and Clark come to the left, and Minor goes to the right. And Rippon throws out of the end zone. Ron Holmes that time pressured Rippon. He forced the early release, and the pass not even close. So it's fourth down, and you're looking at about a 33-yard field goal attempt.
Give Dennis Smith an assist on that. He had covered from out of the backfield, who went wide to the right, Ernest Minor all the way, and that time Rippon knew that he couldn't get it in there. He just fired it out of the corner of the end zone.
Now, the wind, at least, doesn't appear to be swirling down on the field as bad as it was in the first half.
One of those two Lohmiller misses was earlier in this game, but this one is perfect. So Lohmiller boots it through to pull Washington to within 4. They capitalized on the interception, and it's 14-10 Denver. The Denver Broncos trying to solidify their lead in the AFC West. And Washington trying to stay very much in at least a wild card hunt as Lohmiller's kick sails into the end zone and is down to there. And so the Denver Broncos will take over at their own 20-yard line. Kubiak at the helm in place of Elway with 6:50 to go in the third. All right, Denver, 1st and 10 at the 20-yard line. And this is Bratton picking up about 4. Well, we've got Dan Reeves here tonight. We've got Joe Gibbs, and we have Craig T. Nelson, who tomorrow night is Coach Hayden Fox. As Coach debuts tomorrow night following Roseanne. How are you, Craig? Good to see
I'm
you.
great. Yeah, we're down on the field, and it's awfully cold and windy down there, I'll tell you that.
Minnesota State is the
Screaming
college that
Eagles.
represents the Screaming Eagles.
We're 6-2. We got a bowl bid coming up if we can win some more games.
If Reeves or Gibbs would have known you were here, they might have invited you down to pass along a few words of wisdom to their respective teams.
Well, I told them I was down there doing some research, and they tried to kick me off the field.
Humphrey is stopped for no gain on that play call. We know you would have called that play a little bit differently.
Yeah.
Too bad they couldn't get you a better lead in, huh, for tomorrow night?
Terrible time slot. If we fail, I've got no excuse, you know.
As a coach with an 18-year-old daughter, and you have a lady sports writer as your girlfriend, a lot of
Shelley
intrigue there.
Fabre, yeah. Jerry Van Dyke is Luther Van Dam, our defensive coordinator. We've got a heck of a team.
Coming up what, after Roseanne tomorrow?
After Roseanne, 9:30, yeah. It's a good show.
You work hard to make it realistic, don't you?
Yeah, that's why I'm here. It's really, I went down the sideline, talked to some of the guys, and taped up.
Well, there's nothing real about being here in the booth with us, maybe down on the sideline.
On 3rd and 6, you've got a false start there as Gerald Terry was backing into a pass protection situation, and that's going to cost him 5 yards, and Jorgensen confirms it.
Number 60, offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
So it'll be 3rd down and 11. What's your call here? 3rd down and 11. You're up by 4.
You got to throw it. You got to throw it right now. You know, Kubiak's got to come on strong. He's got to look good here.
Come in with the 4 wide.
I think Washington's a little dead right now. Something's going on. You get that feeling?
Well, they had a chance to cash in for 7 and had to settle for 3 after the interception.
Great interception, and now it's...
Well, maybe you can slide down there and have a word with them, Craig, and
Problem is they won't listen.
Third down and 11 in the swirling breeze, and we have a timeout called by Washington. And it was from the 20-yard line. Kubiak protected well, throws. Johnson makes the catch this time, has the first down, and a lot more. Takes it out to the 42-yard line. And so Vance Johnson, who incurred the wrath of Reeves for not coming back for the pass intercepted by Johnson, makes a great move here to pick up the first down and some atonement.
Well, it's the same matchup. It's Johnson on Johnson. And A.J. again, this time, is going to make a move for the football rather than play the man. And this is the dangerous part of being a defensive back. When you make that play, if you come up short, as A.J. Johnson did that time, he allows Vance Johnson to have his run of the field. Big play for the Broncos.
And A.J. Johnson was also thoroughly beaten to the outside by Johnson.
You don't have to call me Johnson.
This is Humphrey. Out to the 45-yard line. In fact, he'd like us to call some other name on that play.
I just decided to make it grammatically correct.
Charles Mann makes the tackle at the 45-yard line. An isolated look here by the 71.
Charles Mann being handled pretty well tonight by Kenny Lanier, the right tackle for the Denver Broncos, that time off blocking someone else. One of the premier defensive ends in the league, Charles Mann.
2nd and 7 from the 45-yard line. 3:45 to go in the third quarter. Broncos ahead by 4. Kubiak slings it to the outside, juggled and dropped by Clarence Kay, covered by Govea.
A big problem for Clarence Kay this year, just that, dropping the football. It's one of the reasons that he's not a bigger part of the Bronco passing game. A pretty talented blocker and really a tight end with relatively good hands. But somehow during the course of the game just doesn't seem to be able to pull them in. That ball by Kubiak just a little bit behind, but still on the back shoulder of Kay, a very catchable football.
Yeah, he's had a real lackluster year, only 13 catches, and he's 6.8 per reception average. 3rd and 7.
That's not much, Al.
Kubiak underthrows Jackson by plenty. And because of the safety blitz by Clarence Vaughn, that is why Kubiak couldn't get anything behind that one, and Denver is forced to kick.
Richie Pettibone, the defensive coach of the Redskins, staying with the blitz. He's been coming at Kubiak all night. Of course, that's what you want to do. Kubiak not having played very little this year and very little over his entire career, but he has stood up to it very well.
Well, I think Kubiak's reaction is to the fact that none of his receivers made an adjustment because of the blitz. He's hung out to dry all by himself.
Ruther's last snap was terrible. This one is good. And Horan's kick is a floater that comes down to the 16. It's fumbled by Howard, but he recovers it and is knocked down at the 15-yard line by Scott Curtis after a 37-yard punt.
Hey, a pretty gutsy play by Joe Howard to even try to handle that ball in the gale that is swirling around here at RFK Stadium, and he comes up limping. 30s by morning.
And Washington has the ball in the swirling breeze from the 16-yard line. They trail by 4, 3:27 to go in the third. And they begin this drive with a play fake, and Rippon firing over the middle, and a great hit that time. Dennis Smith hitting Gary Clark over the middle.
If anybody sets the tone for the Denver defense, it's Dennis Smith. Add Steve Atwater, the rookie, at the other safety, and you have two of the most physical safeties in the league, and that's Dennis Smith serving notice on Gary Clark. You want to come in and play with the big boys, you're going to get hit.
So we talked about how good these Redskin receivers were coming across the middle, but I tell you, with those two safeties back there, a lot of wide receivers are going to be thinking long and hard about it.
2nd and 10, and Rippon fires to the outside, and Sanders makes the catch and is run out of bounds by Simon Fletcher, and a first down up at about the 30-yard line. And Rippon is now 9 out of 16, and he's up and over 100 yards for the night. Coming up this Saturday for all of you Wolverine fans. Hail to the victors dying in the background as Ohio State plays Michigan. Wolverines try to clinch a Rose Bowl berth, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and then the Wolverines, the NCAA champions. their year against Arizona in the Hall of Fame tip-off battle.
My colleague to the right is puffing up over here. Am I obnoxious or what?
Yeah. First and 10 from the 30-yard line, going deep for Sanders, and he was well covered that time by Wyman Henderson.
Well covered. Henderson using a little of his left arm to maybe affect the stride of Sanders, but drawing no flags. He was right there. Let's take a look again. Henderson, number 24, pumping that left arm right in there to the receiver. Just enough to throw you off and not enough to draw the flag. That's good coverage.
You can't say that Ricky Sanders didn't try to paw his way past, working that left shoulder of Henderson, but I agree, Frank. That's just superb coverage.
Second and 10, Redskins from the 30. 3:10 to go, third quarter.
Boy, and the wind is at it again.
Yep. Monk in motion.
Comes the blitz.
Rippin throws, and it's dropped at the 42-yard line by Gary Clark as Mark Haynes that time on a corner blitz. Actually covering Clark on the play. Mark Haynes, who only plays in passing situations these days. The one-time All-Pro cornerback.
He had his eyes right on that football. He had timed it beautifully as Gary Clark makes the turn in, reading the blitz. He's working with his quarterback. Haynes tried to drive for it and just misses. Slipped perhaps as he took off to go for the ball.
Third and 10, Redskins from the 30-yard line.
Can't lose sight of the fact that should have been a Redskin first down. Clark should have caught that ball.
Reset the clock on 12 seconds. 12 seconds.
That is the play clock, which had gone down to 7.
Well, Dick Jorgensen just gave them the time back they lost when the ball rolled away because of the wind.
And he'll wait to start it now until they come up to the line, and now it starts. So it begins to tick down. Third and 10. Griffin throws. The catch is made out at the 36-yard line by Ernest Biner, but he is stopped short of the first down. Doesn't have it. Needed 10, got about 8.5. Haynes in on the tackle. And the Redskins are forced to kick.
That's normally a matchup that most teams would like to get, a running back out in the flat with a one-on-one situation against the cornerback. The cornerback's normally the weakest tacklers in any defensive backfield, but that time Mark Haynes with a good play, keeping Biner from leaning out, stretching out for the first down.
And here's a fake on 4th and 2. And dropped at the 37-yard line and losing the ball on downs. Monty Coleman is stopped at the 37-yard line as the Broncos read it. They weren't fooled, and they take over on downs in Washington territory at the 37-yard line.
This is very cute. The up man right here. There's a little fake, and Coleman just stands there. He is hoping that Denver will follow the pursuit. They do not. They read it beautifully, and it was Tim Lucas who did not get fooled at all.
Well, actually, the snap went to the other up back, and he leans under and puts the ball between the legs of Monty Coleman. Similar to the Petruski that some college teams have run. Florida State, I guess, maybe the most famous, but he stuffed it underneath the legs of Coleman.
It was Terry Orr who gave it to Coleman. Meanwhile, on a naked bootleg, here's Kubiak sliding to the 31-yard line. It's like Halloween the way these last two plays have been run.
You know, on that fake punt, Monty Coleman, after taking the ball between his legs, seemed to wait a long time before he finally made his break to try to get around the perimeter of the Denver defense. That delay may have cost him. Might have held on just a beat too long.
So Coleman, a linebacker, of course, by trade. And not only does he not pick up the first down, he lost a yard on the play. Denver has it at the 31-yard line. It is second down, 4. Mobley in motion. Strong side to the left, and Humphrey goes that way, but to no avail. He's wrapped up by the entire right side of the Redskin defense, led by Fred Stokes. And it's going to be third down and 4. Freddie Stokes, third-year man out of Georgia Southern. And a fellow whose name you haven't heard a lot in the past, but you're going to be hearing more and more of him with Manley gone now and Cook hurt. And we'll try to get a report on the extent of Marcus Cook's injury.
Stokes more of a pass-rushing defensive end than he is the defensive end against the run, but he's going to be having to go both ways.
3rd and 4 in the final minute of the period. And now Kubiak goes to Jorgensen
Denver.
and calls a timeout.
That's down 17-0.
Yep, Mark Bavaro. Remember that Bavaro catch a couple of years ago?
Bavaro, of course, on the IR now for the Giants.
Here's the shovel pass, which last week worked perfectly to Sewell, and this time to Sammy Winder, and he gets nothing.
And that is all you can ask of your defensive team. You make a gamble with special teams. You try to pick up a first down in your own territory. It doesn't work out. And oh, the burden that falls on your defensive team. And up to now, the Redskins have responded, forcing a 4th down. And really, in this situation, it's too far for a Denver field goal.
You're looking at 51 or 52 yards.
They bring Kubiak back in, so they're going to go. But again, that was a play that the Broncos used so successfully last week against Kansas City. They used it 3 times, and you better believe that Richie Pettibone, the defensive coach, looked at that a few times this week.
They have to run a play before the quarter because there was more time and a little pooch punt by Kubiak inside the 10.
Great
and
play.
Elway couldn't have done that any better. John does that too.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. They did it before the end of the quarter. They had to rush onto the field, and Gary Kubiak putting a lot of touch on the ball. The very first punt of his National Football League. Hogs become piglets, hoping to one day be hogs again.
Led by Porky Bostic, the center. He's a veteran.
Philosophy pouring forth.
1st and 10 from the 4. Ricky Sanders gets popped after he makes the catch up at the 9-yard line. Hit put on him by Tyrone Braxton. So the 3rd quarter is over. We start the 4th with Denver on top, 14-10. Al Michaels, Frank Gifford, and Dan Dierdorf. And the Broncos have won 40 of their last 41, which they've led going into the final quarter.
And the lone game that they lost was a Monday night game that we did against the Raiders, where they blew what? A 24-point lead?
24-0 was the score, and they lost in overtime. 2nd and 5, and over the middle, the catch is made by Clark up at the 15-yard line for a 1st down. And here are the numbers through the first 45 minutes. Relatively even except time of possession.
Good job tonight by Gary Kubiak, and I'm quite sure that John Elway, who we assume is down in the locker room watching and hopefully listening, is enjoying watching Gary Kubiak himself. I hope he's also feeling better, stricken with a stomach virus this afternoon.
1st and 10 from the 15-yard line. Here's Biner. He's tripped up. Number 90, Ron Holmes, makes the tackle. If the Broncos win this game, they will be in just fabulous shape in every area. For the AFC West, for the home field, their defense has been terrific this year. Only one drive of 80-plus yards that's resulted in a touchdown. Not only would Denver be 9-2 with a win, but 4 of their last 5 games are against teams under 500.
Well, they changed on defense. Last year, 27th against the rush. This year, they're 10th against the rush. Last year, 3rd against the pass. At this point, they're 7th against the pass. Overall, 5th in the league. They finished 22nd last year.
2nd and 10, a ripping on a roll and under pressure, and a nice catch is made up at the 20-yard line, and out of bounds goes Ricky Sanders at about the 22, and it's going to set up a 3rd and 3, coverage by Michael Brooks.
Mark Rippon coming right back and getting good yardage. Rippon, I told you earlier this year, the Travelers' Man of the Year for the Washington Redskins. Every team has one. It not only pertains to his activities on the field, but those activities off the field in his community. And Mark Rippon will represent the Redskins, and the Travelers' Man of the Year for the year in the NFL will be announced at the Super Bowl. Good honor, quite an honor.
3rd and a long 3 with Sanders coming in motion. They have to get to the 25-yard line, and Rippon throws, and it's knocked down and nearly picked off, and Tyrone Braxton saw 6.
It should have been picked off, and it should have been 6 as Rippon tried to squeeze it in, tried to force it in, and almost picked off by Braxton.
Been an aggressive Denver secondary tonight. They are really reacting to the ball, and Braxton times it so well, stepping in front of Art Monk, and their observation.
Fly for reinstatement or apply for it after a calendar year, meaning the middle of next November. And you see his age is 30, he's 31, he's 32 by the time he gets back. And, well, his life right now and the resumption of a normal life is the key as far as the Redskins are concerned. Football is secondary. From the 41-yard line, Sammy Winder picked up a yard or two, but 3 strikes against Manley and a lifetime suspension, the third man who has received that penalty.
We had tried to reach Dexter Manley to come on with us tonight. We could not do that. He had a press conference, we understand, called for today. That was canceled, so we do not know what he plans to do, whether he plans to protest it in a legal way or whether he will accept it. And as Al mentioned, got his life on the straightened out, and then hopefully be able to come back and appeal it next year.
Stanley Wilson and Tony Collins, by the way, are the other 2 men who have also gotten lifetime suspensions for drug abuse. Kubiak has it tipped twice by Jackson and then incomplete and out of bounds. He was covered by A.J. Johnson. So here in Washington, of course, all weekend long, the Manley story has been front-page news.
Here's a good effort by Mark Jackson, staying with the ball. It's going to pop straight up in the air. The ball thrown back behind Jackson. That's a pretty tough catch. And Johnson and Jackson fighting for it all the way. That's good coverage and good effort by a receiver, staying with it.
Third down, call it 9 from just inside the 40-yard line. Kubiak from the gun. Skins rush 5. And the pass is dropped by Johnson after he's gotten behind A.J. No relation.
Boy, and that's a Denver touchdown. Ring the bell, put the money in the bank.
I think that might have floated a little bit on Vance Johnson. He's complaining that he was knocked off by the receiver off stride. But he was bumped just a little bit, and the ball hung for Kubiak. And keep in mind, the wind is swirling around out here, doing funny things. And I think he thought that was going to go into his hands and went right off his shoulder pad. He's too good a receiver to miscalculate that much.
It's dropped by Horan, but he picks it up, and a great effort, all things considered, and it was almost, or was it? Yes, it was. Or was it not? Now they're signaling touchback. Darren Carrington was the man, or are they?
No, they're going to give them the ball.
At the 2-yard line. Yep, apparently so. At the 2-yard line, they're going to say that Carrington downed it there. Take another look.
Watch this effort by Darren Carrington. Off of the ground, saves the ball. Oh, that's
that year trouble throughout the season. He started out this year with a bad knee, but he is at full speed once again. And he's not being asked in this defensive scheme of things for Denver to do all the things he's done in the past. So Collier basically played his defense around Mecklenburg. They moved him all along the line of scrimmage. He was the attack, and a good one. But he is playing more of the inside now, and sometimes over the center.
From the 2-yard line, out of the shadow of their goal line, comes Morris to take it to the 5. And on that last punt, by the way, Mike Ruther's snap was low. Great effort by Horan, and then a terrific effort, of course, by Carrington on the other side.
Yeah, this is the second time that Horan has had to field an errant snap and make something out of it. And then at the other end, he is rewarded with this effort by Darren Carrington. And boy, that's a special teams coach dream. They have a guy get down there, cover the ball like that, and then have the athletic ability to make a big play like that. That's the way it is supposed to be done.
2nd and 7 from the 5-yard line. 11:10 to go. Denver on top by 4. From the end zone, Gary Clark makes the catch, and he's wrestled down by Braxton at the 9-yard line.
Well, we've been bringing you up to date with everything that's been happening here in D.C. In case you missed our announcement in the first half, Gene Stallings this afternoon was fired as head coach of the Phoenix Cardinals and replaced by Hank Kuhlman, who was the running back coach. Gene Stallings, Tom Landry disciple, serving on that staff with Dan Reeves, today fired. The Cardinals with a 5-6 record, and the Bidwell family making the change. So Stallings, the second coach of the year to be fired. Mike Shanahan of the Raiders was number 1.
Shanahan now, of course, here with Denver. 3rd and a long 2, and Art Monk can't handle it.
Braxton covering on the play, so no first down, and instead they're going to have to kick, and Mozienko's last effort was awful. A couple of popular head coaches, Danny Reeves and, of course, Gene Stallings were talking about a moment ago, and there is Mike Shanahan, who signed just a few weeks ago after being fired and returned to the Denver Broncos, from whence he came, back as a quarterback coach. And when we talked with John Elway last night, he gave us a big smile when we asked him if he enjoyed having Mike Shanahan back, because they were very close before he went out to the Raiders. Broncos try to set up a return. It's a line drive kick and fielded by Vance Johnson near midfield, and he squirts all the way down to the 35 of Washington. Tackle there by Monty Coleman, and so Denver has the ball in Washington territory with 10 minutes. And Wilbur Marshall now is on the bench with what they're saying is a migraine headache. As Humphrey.
A couple other names now you got to add in there. You got to talk about Joe Jacoby, Mark May. Work your way down that offensive line. Russ Grimm is hobbled. I mean, this is a decimated football team, and somehow Joe Gibbs continues to hold it together.
Well, let me go back to what I said at the top. They're not out of the hunt. Next week they play Chicago here, and then Washington ends its season at Phoenix, San Diego here, at Atlanta, at Seattle. Soft at the end for Gibbs, but this is a very big game for them to win tonight. 2nd and 9 from the 35-yard line. Humphrey can't get out of the backfield. He is wrapped up by Tracy Rocker. And Darrell Grant also in on the tackle. And we understand we have Gene Stallings on a phone hookup.
Gene, this is Dan Deerdorf. Gene, can you tell us what happened this afternoon? What precipitated the action by the Bidwell family? What happened?
Well, Dan, basically, this is last year of my contract, and there's been so much speculation on what was going to happen to me, and I think the emphasis needs to be on the football team. We still had 5 games to go. There was some things that was written that I didn't really believe and approve of, and I visited with Larry about it and didn't get a lot of self-satisfaction. So I just felt like in best interest of everybody, I ought to say that I wanted to fulfill my obligation, my contract, but at the end of the season, I wouldn't be a candidate to be coaching here anymore. I thought that was the best thing to do, and that's what I did. And then after they gave some thought to it, they just decided to go ahead and terminate it.
Well, Gene, let me get a clarification here. Now, were you fired today, or did you quit?
Well, I didn't quit. All I said was that there was no way I would quit. And I said, now, when the year is over, I will not be a candidate for the coaching position. So, the speculation, am I going to coach? Am I going to get fired? Am my contract going to be renewed? That's all people want to talk about. I feel like we need to talk about the team. So I said nothing worse than coaching controversy, so there'll just be no controversy.
Gene,
I won't coach here next year.
Gene, did you make this at a press conference, or did you speak to Bill Bidwell, the owner, personally?
I talked to the coaches. I talked to the players. Then I visited with Larry and told Larry what I was going to tell the media.
Larry Wilson, Gene's talking
Then I told the media, and then I visited with Larry again a little later.
All right, let's get back to you in just 1 second here, Gene. As you saw, Denver misfiring on a pass intended for Johnson on 3rd down. Then the pooch punt by Kubiak, and Washington has it at the 22-yard line, 1st and 10. Gene, what about next year? Have you thought about what you might be doing?
Well, no, I really haven't. Football's my business, and I thought our team was playing well. I can sympathize with Washington, all those injuries. I know that's part of it, but as you mentioned, they're still in the hunt. Well, we were still in the hunt. But sometimes the chemistry is just not there, and it didn't work, and I regret it. Hopefully I'll be coaching somewhere.
We understand, Gene, you only had some 5 players that have been able to start for you throughout the season.
Well, on an
every game basis.
It's been an unusual year. It really has.
Well, Gene, thank you very much, and good luck to you, sir, and we hope you're back coaching next year, too.
Well, I appreciate it, and I've been enjoying watching the game tonight.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you,
We'll
Gene.
see you guys.
Okay, Gene.
He's one of the most popular guys around, and even with that record of 5 and 6, that might be a rather remarkable record considering all the problems they've had out there, but very popular with that record even in Phoenix.
He's a pretty remarkable guy to come on a phone hookup a couple of hours after something like that takes place in Phoenix.
Well, now I have to say this, that in the Valley of the Sun, Gene Stallings' popularity running at a much higher number than Bill Bidwell's, and I doubt that this is, for a team that's having PR problems of their own, this is not going to help the Bidwells at all.
Meanwhile, Washington has picked up a first down, and it's tipped and then knocked down. Ron Holmes got a hand on it, and Jeff Bostic just wanted to make sure that nobody intercepted it, and he spiked. He looked like Karch Karai on that play.
Pigs are some of the smartest animals, and that is, there's an excellent example. Karch Karai, come on, Al, get with it. Warming up for one of your new sports. What are your new sports?
Right, my new assignment.
And it is in for the spike. That's right. Hey, what a smart play by Jeff Bostic.
Side out.
Karch Karai. That's good, Al. You'll be doing it before long.
Thank you, and you'll be the color man.
Bostic was the one they speculated wouldn't be around here, but he is one of the last of the hogs out there.
What a smart play that time by Jeff Bostic. Alias Karch Karai.
2nd and 10, and wide open is Clark, and of all things, Gary Clark drops the football.
Oh, that floated on him also.
Am I the only guy here that is impressed with this Denver secondary and the way they are covering people and the way they are hitting people? That time it's Wyman Henderson, and look at the smack he puts on Gary Clark.
And look at Clark. Now, he's looking for that ball to come in front of him. All of a sudden, it's behind him, and that ball is all over the lot out there with that gusty wind.
Now, there's no doubt that would have been a good catch by Clark. He's moving one way, the ball's sailing off the other. But again, a secondary that continues to serve notice that you're going to get hit. Receivers are starting to think about it.
You could see the ball. It was almost, by the time it reached Clark, almost end over end.
3rd down and 10. Skins from the 33-yard line. Sanders in motion. Only a 3-man rush, and fired for Clark, and boy, does he pay the price again on a perfect hit by Dennis Smith. Tremendous timing.
We got these two safeties, both of them 6'3". Dennis Smith at 200 pounds, Atwater closer to 220. Boy, what an impact that they are having on this Broncos secondary.
Gary Clark somehow is able to concentrate on the ball, and here comes Dennis Smith. Unloads as Clark goes up to come down with the football and catches him right on the ribs.
Perfect timing by Smith. So there's no penalty. A wobbly bouncing kick by Moshenko. Ricky McKeel tries to get outside and pant, and he's tackled back at the 29-yard line. And the Broncos can now begin to think about taking some time off that clock. 6:45 to play.
Under the circumstances, I think throwing the ball relatively well, not getting a whole lot of help.
On a tough night to throw the ball with that wind out there.
From the 29, Humphrey, he'll want to stay in bounds, and he does, to keep that clock going as he gets it out to the 32. Again, Washington's defense here, they're minus Marcus Cook. He came out earlier. Sprained ankle was the report on Cook. There's Mann, who plays the other end. So they've got Mann and Rocker and Grant and Fred Stokes up front.
Watch the top of your screen. Here's Charles Mann, who has to contain it outside. Jeff Alexander just comes in and ties him up, and Charles Mann, less than a Pro Bowl play on that play. Not a great effort to make the tackle.
2nd and 5 from the 34-yard line. 6 minutes to go. Kubiak taking as much time off the clock as he can. Gives it to Humphrey on a draw play, and he takes it out to the 38-yard line. He is short of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 1. Doug Waddell and Rocker, two good-looking rookies, get involved in a minor scuffle.
Keeping you up to date on what's going on around the National Football League, Commissioner Paul Tagliabue today announced several key changes. Jim Finks will become head of the key competition committee. They determine the rules. They determine how this game is played. A very important post. Mike McCaskey, the president of the Bears, through the finance committee, and Pat Boland of the Denver Broncos, the owner, will be part of the broadcast committee. And there will be more changes coming up, according to the commissioner.
3rd down and 1. This is a big play because if they pick up the first down, they can take a lot more time off the clock. Redskins play the run, and it's Alexander picking up the first down. Jeff Alexander out of Southern University, first-year player, and that's his first carry of the game, and it's a vital one for Denver. The clock is now down under 5 minutes.
So much of running the football is believing that you can run the football. The Broncos have had a great deal of success so far this year. The addition of Bobby Humphrey, we talked about at length, but it's an attitude. It's a feeling up front that you can control the line of scrimmage. And right now the Broncos have that attitude, that feeling that they can run the ball against anyone that may have been the run of the game.
Kubiak will take that play clock all the way down. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. Play clock down to 4. Kubiak on a roll on a busted play, and down he goes at the 36-yard line. Tracy Rocker pins him for the loss.
Well, the question now is, what do we call that? A loss or a sack? I don't think it was a pass play, but it may get credited as a sack.
I'm sure it wasn't a pass, but I wouldn't think it was a pass play.
No, it looked like a busted run up front.
Looking to hand the ball off.
Yeah, it looked like Bobby Humphrey went to the wrong side. Alexander looked like he was lead blocking to the right. Kubiak opened up to the right for a handoff, and Bobby Alexander was working the left side. Bobby Humphrey, rather, was working the left side.
That makes it 2nd and 15, and they line up in a tight shotgun formation, and look out from the blind side as Raven Caldwell dumps him, but Kubiak is able to get rid of the ball, and it's 3rd down and 15.
Full-blown blitz once again as Richie Pettibone, the defensive coordinator, stays with it. He's been with it all night. Watch number 50, Raven Caldwell, coming in totally unmolested from the left side, the blind side of Kubiak. He just catches it out of the corner of his eye and gets rid of the ball before he takes the sack or the fumble.
So it's 3rd down, 15 from the 36. The clock has stopped with 3:46. Looking ahead, Skins have 2 timeouts remaining. So does Denver if they need them. Nice catch by Kubiak on an errant snap. And then he throws, and the catch is made at the 49, and it's very close to a 1st down. On the near side, that's Michael Young. And again, one-on-one with Young, a 3rd down specialist. And it depends on the spot here. They are very close to a 1st down.
Johnson was saying he had it, but he was coming back at an acute angle through the sidelines, and even though he was hit, they will mark it where he went out of bounds. It's going to be very close.
Now, in these situations, is Kubiak trying to look like John Elway? As you see the signal from Jorgensen that it is a 1st down, he moves the chains. Gary Kubiak, as he did in the first half, improvising, making the roll out to the left, and
great play on the ball there.
Yes, stabbing it one-handed, but again, I'm sorry, put a 7 on the guy's back. That looks just like Elway.
I said it at the beginning of the game. We watched him in preseason play a few years ago against the 49ers. Elway did not play. Kubiak had a great game and had a great preseason 3 or 4 years ago. And maybe he doesn't do it as well as Elway, but you're right. Has all the same characteristics.
This is Humphrey. Meanwhile, as Humphrey picks up 2, Washington has to take a timeout to stop the clock. Maybe they ought to make Michael Young the 4th amigo. That's 2 very big catches for the guy who came over from tonight.
Didn't know until just before the game that he was going to be playing, much less starting.
Meanwhile, on 2nd and 8, there's a fake. Man chases Kubiak, and Kubiak running for a 1st down and has it. And I believe he stays in bounds as well as the official on the far side, I thought, was winding the clock, but the clock has stopped.
Charles Mann in full pursuit. Charles Mann's a good athlete. Kubiak timed the angle out just right, looked for the 1st down marker. Now watch Mann. He sees the bootleg, reads the bootleg, turns it into a full sprint. The little man is always going to win this one, however.
Well, what I think the official is saying, he stopped the clock initially for a measurement if needed, and now Denver is saying wind the clock. It should be going, but no, they say he was out of bounds. Mark Jackson was trying to get him to start the clock again, but Kubiak stepped across the line.
That last one, man, play all the way. He's got to keep contained.
From the 39-yard line, this is Humphrey, and he's taken down by Bowles at the 35, and now Washington looks toward the bench, and Bowles says they're not sure if they want to call the timeout here. And now they do.
Washington, number 3, 40 seconds.
Denver at the Washington 35-yard line. Humphrey, and that could just about do it. As he takes it to the 28, he picks up the 1st down. And the only time the clock will stop now is that 2-minute warning as it rolls down to 3:08. The Broncos, with a win here tonight and a win next week against Seattle at Mile High Stadium in the 12th week of the season, would have clinched the Western Division crown. And right now they're thinking about home field advantage in the playoffs, and Denver historically has been very tough to beat at Mile High in postseason and very easy to beat away from Mile High.
I think it's something like 5-1 at home and 1-6 away from Denver.
The only one, of course, away from home was that tremendous victory in Cleveland.
One of the things the Broncos have been in search of is respect. Now, part of the reason they feel that the respect has dwindled is at the bottom line there, the 0-3 in Super Bowls. Their road record, as Frank just talked about, less than stirring. But they feel that they just don't have a national respect. And I think this game tonight may go a long way to proving to people how good a football team resides in Denver. Without John Elway, they are able to come in here, run the football effectively, get good play by that man, Gary Kubiak, and win a football game. They haven't won it yet, but they're well on their way.
What a tremendous difference he has made. The first Denver player in 13 years to have 300-yard rushing games in a season, and there are still 5 games to go. And Washington, unless they were drawn off, has just given Denver another break as if they needed it. Tracy Rocker coming across the line. And it is Rocker. And, you know, you go back to that one play.
Number 99, defense, 5 yards, still second down.
Not that this game hinged on one play, but as big a play as any tonight was that face mask call on Rocker that kept that Denver drive alive, which resulted in a touchdown and a 14-7 lead in the first half. Second down and 3 from the 20-yard line, and Humphrey will pad those stats a little bit more, picks up the first down, and they can now completely run the clock out. And we can tell you that tonight on Nightline, does your teenager use steroids? 500,000 American boys have tried the drug, and no one is certain what the health consequences may be. That story on Nightline tonight.
You know, the danger with teenagers using steroids, we're not talking about athletes here. We're talking about a lot of kids just doing it hoping that they could look better, put on some weight. I mean, that's so scary that it's hard to handle.
Now this one coming to a close. 1:18 to go. And our thanks, as always, to the guys in the booth, George Hill and Kelly J. Hayes, who hands me a note that says, are we going to look at a possible rematch in the Super Bowl between the Giants and the Broncos, as we had following the 1986 season? Good possibility right now. The executive producer of ABC's Monday Night Football is Jeffrey Mason. Tonight's game produced by the Wolfman, Ken Wolf, and directed by the estimable Craig Janos. Our technical director, Joe Chavo. Our associate director, Ben Harvey. John McGinnis, our halftime associate producers. Jeff Kibler and Rick Abbott, the assistants to the producers. Dennis Zabel and Bob Simon, our op managers. Telecommunications manager, Frank Seeger. Our computer statistician, Mark Amento. And our director of information, Mr. Univac, Steve Hurst. Thank you, folks.
The best cameramen in the business, best tape guys from top to bottom. Top drawer tonight, guys, and top drawer for the guys in the orange and the blue. And number 8, looking like number 7 all the way tonight. And there is the beleaguered one on the right, Joe Gibbs. What a tough year, if you know this man. What he's going through personally with all the problems and the injuries, with all the personal problems.
And not one player